Hello everyone, welcome back to Backend Connect the Dots channel. In this video, I would like to talk about Salesforce Composite Connector and how it is used. What is the difference between the Salesforce connector and what is the difference, how it is differed from the Composite Connector? I will talk about this in this video, and also I would like to share you like in how do we create like in client, how do we get the client ID and the client secret on the Salesforce connected app. So there is a slight change happened in the existing release on the Salesforce. They have moved the connected apps to the external apps. So I will show you how do we get that client ID and the client secret. In this slide, what we want to talk about is how the Salesforce Composite Connector is different from the regular Salesforce connector. So for me, the main definition of the Salesforce Composite Connector is to handle multiple requests in a single call is called the Salesforce Composite Connector, and it is handled by the Salesforce Composite API. Salesforce has exposed the Composite API. So by using the connector, basically what we use in the MuleSoft is calling that Composite API and doing that operations. The main advantage of this using of this composite connector is to reduces the number of calls to the Salesforce and it which improves the performance of our application. So for example, I want to show you something. If you want to create an account and contact in the Salesforce with the regular connector, you have to make it two different calls. If you see this example, this flow, here we are making a contact, one connector we are create connector Salesforce connector we are using and creating an account, and by using the account ID, the whatever the Salesforce ID what we got it while creating the account, we are creating the contact and tying that account to that contact. So we are making a making two different calls to the Salesforce and making this operation happen. But the main advantage of the Salesforce Composite Connector is you can do it with in a single operation. If you say this, this is the sample request. How do we send it to the Salesforce Composite Connector? You can see here we are creating the uh, post. Post is nothing but creating an account and creating a contact with the post. What happens is like in basically the Salesforce composite connector will the payload of this Salesforce composite connector will have multiple sub requests within the each when in a single request. If you see this, there is an one method call HTTP method happening in this, and there is a second method HTTP method calling over here. One is to create the account, one other one is to create the contact. Not only the post, you can do other operations also like get operation also. If you want to fetch the some data from the Salesforce object, you can do it, and you can also do like a patch operations also. But the main difference with the Salesforce connector versus composite connector is you can do multiple requests in a single operation with the composite connector, which basically improves the performance and the number of calls to the Salesforce. And the composite connector is mainly divided into three types. One is the composite request, and one is the other operation is composite batch, and the tree structure, S object tree structure. So what is as we talk about the composite request, right? Like in creating of multiple operations, performing multiple operations in a single request with the some composite request, right? Here is a basic sample payload. You can see like, and we are in this request, we are doing like in creating an account and creating a contact and referring that account to that contact. This is this is a composite request which basically depends like in each sub request can be dependent on each other basically. You can do if somehow like in while performing this request the account was not able to create due to some error on the creating on the account, the contact will not be created. So one sub request is dependent on the other. If, for example, there is an another while passing the payload, we also send that all or none at the top. I will show you while demoing it. What that means is like, an if something got wrong while creating that one operation, the creating the contacts, if something got wrong while creating the contact, the account will also revert it back. So if everything got success only, that every account and the contact will be created. For in this example, there is an option we can send it while the all or none. Basically the default will be true, means like in one got failed, everything will be reverted back with the composite request. In this slide, we'll talk about composite batch. It's slightly different from the composite request. I can say it like in the composite request, right? We have seen that one of the sub request is dependent on the other. For example, in the previous example, the account was dependent, the contact sub request was dependent on the account. Once the account gets created, only that the contact can be created by using that account reference. But composite batch is nothing but it's completely the each sub request is not dependent on the other sub request. This helps us to perform one sub request at a time, which is dependent, not dependent on the previous or whatever the sub request. So you can do multiple operations with the composite batch, but if one of them fails, you will be getting only the fail response for that sub request only. The other will be not affected. For example, if you have like five requests and one of them fails, like in third one got failed, the fourth and fifth will be executed normally. But you'll at the end of the response, you will be seeing only the third one will be having the error message why it is got errored out. That's the difference between the composite request and the composite batch. The main difference, as I mentioned, request is dependent on the previous or whatever the reference sub request is referred in your other sub request. So, but coming to the batch, the sub requests are independently executed. In this slide, I will talk about a subject tree. This is about like if you want to create like hierarchical manner on the Salesforce, like if you want to create an objects in a hierarchical manner. So this subject tree is helpful. The main limitation of this subject tree is like, and you can go up to five hierarchical levels. For example, if you want to create an account and you can do it in the main parent account as an perform it as an account, and under the account you can create multiple contacts. You can do like in two or three contacts creation, and the contact might be having leads, and in that structure leads can also have like an uh, line items, so that in that way like, and you can go up to five levels in depth of from the parent. So if one of them, if the parent got failed, the remaining the childs will not be executed in this as object. The main advantage is helpful to create like if you have like a parent style structure creation, it's better to use the S object tree. The main it can be having like in 100 to around 200 sub request can be performed, but coming to the composite request and the batch, it has only 25 sub requests, but it has more limit. But the only limitation is like you can go up to five hierarchical levels below of the parent. In this slide, I would like to finally conclude like in what is the difference between the three composite requests, the Salesforce composite request, uh, the request batch, and the object sub-object tree. The max request on the composite request is 25. You can create 25 sub requests in the one single call. You can make 25 sub operations. But coming to the batch also, it's also the same 25 sub operations you can do it. But the main difference between them is like Uh, Batch cannot be dependent on the pre sub request within the sub request, but coming to the request, you can refer from the other sub request can be one, it can be dependent on each other. But coming to the S object, you have like an 200 sub requests can be called, but it has a but it has a limitation of hierarchy of level 5. As I mentioned that in inner sub request can be dependency yes on the request composite request, but batch cannot be dependent on the other sub request. It has a yes, it in the object tree also we can say it as it has the sub requests are dependent on the other in the parent child relationship. The request composite request will be supporting update and delete, and the batch also does that. You can do like an update, create, update, and delete. But on the S objects, you can only create, you can't delete it. Hierarchical structure will be not supported, as I mentioned. The parent-child relationship will be not available in the request and the batch. It only available in the S object tree up to level 5. Like, and you can create up to level 5. So, 5. All or none is available in the request. While sending the request, you can say like, and if one of them fails, revert all of them. It's available. Rollback option is available on the request. It is not available on the batch because it's the other the sub objects sub requests are not dependent on each other. So you don't have it. But there is another option called like an if something got errored out in this batch request, you can stop the other executions also. Um, there is some you can send it like in a one variable while passing the request payload. Ha, but coming to the object tree, as object tree, yes, the rollback is available. It is very important because if one of the parent or the main child or got errored out, the others cannot be executed. So it is the rollbacks is available on the as object tree also. Yeah, now let's jump on to how do we get the client ID and the client secret. How first we'll see like and how do we make a connection between the Salesforce and Salesforce and the MuleSoft, and what are the required fields we needed from the Salesforce to connect that. Um, i- if you see this Salesforce Composite Connector, once you import it from the Exchange, it won't be on the default uh, connector apps. So we have to go to the exchange and search for the Salesforce Composite Connector. You have here Salesforce Composite Connector, which was published by the MuleSoft. You can add it and finish it. Once you finish that, you will be seeing that Salesforce Composite Connection Connector uh, operations over here. For this Salesforce Composite Connector, you have to make a connection, right? So for that, currently I'm using it like an OAuth username and password is the connection, but you have like in multiple, you can choose one of them, but I'm currently using in this video for the OAuth username and password. I'll also show you how to get this client ID, customer, consumer key, consumer secret. This username and password is nothing but your Salesforce account username and password. And the token, how do we get the token? And this is the token URL. It's a standard. You can say like an HTTP slash colon slash slash login salesforce.com slash service over dot token. This is a standard, but I will show you like in how do we get this things. For now, I'm using for this video in this video I'm using like in secure properties. I have created that security property. I've created secured those properties in my dev.config YAML, and with the help of the blowfish I've encrypted these values to hide it. I'll in the next coming up videos I'll show you how do we encrypt these values and how do we consume also. For now, I'll you can basically directly hard code it, but it's not a recommended way. But it's a very good thing to encrypt it. But I'll show you in the next video how do we encrypt. But you can directly hard code your values over here instead of encryption. And in this, while configuring, just mention dollar curly braces, whatever the key you want to mention it out. If it is not encrypted, remove this secure colon colon. That way you can read it from there. Uh, let's jump on how do we get the configurations, how do we get that client ID and the client secret for this Salesforce connection, composite connect. Once you go to your Salesforce account and go to your setup, under the setup, go to the app manager. Previously, this is a connected apps. It's called connected apps in the Salesforce, which is nothing but the say you are giving your Salesforce API, you are exposing your Salesforce APIs to a third party. For that, you have to create an client ID and the client secret and share with them whoever wants to connect it. It's called connected apps. Previously, you used to have like an connected apps over here. Once you click it, you used to get like an option whether you want to create a connected app or external client, new external client app. But now the Salesforce in the recent release, they have what I read is like, and they are merging the connected apps and external connected apps together. So on the Lightning also, you don't see previously on the Lightning also. This is Lightning, sorry. On the classic version also, on the setup create apps used to have a new option over here. You can directly create that connected app over here, but now they have removed it and they moved that to the connect client external clients app. So how do we create a connected app now? So let's go to the setup and enable the connected apps over here. So here is the option. So you can create like an from here. This is the way to create a connected apps. For now, I'll say like in test mule app. I name it as contact ID. I'll give it as my contact ID and my email address. Enable OAuth authentic settings, and you can basically callback URL as this one. HTTP http://login.salesforce.com. That's you can give anything. You can give a search for the full access and give the full access for now. Everything is good. Yeah. Yeah, it takes 10 minutes to affect your account. Just say okay, you to use that client ID and the client secret. Here, once you created that connected app, you will be seeing this manage consumer details, right? Once you click on that consumer details, click on the consumer, you will be getting a verification to your email address. Verify. You can see these are your client consumer key. Let me copy that. Consumer secret. Let me test it from Postman first and see whether all the credentials are working or not. Uh, these are the how if you want to test it from the Postman, this is the way how you test it. This is you have to paste your username, password. Uh, s- and you have to add your security token also while ending with to your password. This is a security token I appended to my password. Let me try. It still says wrong, invalid credentials. Let me. Before that, there is another thing also I want to mention. If you see this invalid credentials or something like this, uh, make sure your mm, once you created, right, like an let me cancel this. Go to the whatever the credentials you have created, right? Test manage connected apps. This is the one I have created. Edit policies. Go to the edit policies and apply. Change this environment IP restrictions to relax restrictions. Save it. Let's see it works. Still not working. Let's wait for 10 minutes and see whether it's work. The changes might not be done immediately. Yeah, now you can see that the changes got affected, and now I'm able to get that token, which means like now you can configure the same credentials what I have done on the Postman. You can paste all those credentials over here, and that will be successful for sure. Make sure you just change this once the IP reflections relaxation, sorry, IP relaxations restrictions to relax IP restrictions. That will be help you to get the access to connection successful. Thank you. In the next video, I will show you like an how do we demo like an how do we use the composite connector for and how it is used.